We're now going to try and complete this demonstration of the Auto-Retopology toolset in 3D Coat by working on the head. I'm first going to hide this mesh layer here, and then in the Vox Tree layer panel I'll hide the body, unhide the head only layer, and I can isolate that by holding the Alt key, clicking on the visibility icon here. Alright, I'm going to go to the voxel room, zoom in a bit here, and after going through some notes that Andrew provided for getting a better result when using Auto-Retopology, I decided I'm going to create a duplicate of this head, hide the original, and the main goal here is to create a voxel object. Click on the little S icon, and now I'm in voxel mode. The second step is to resample, and the target is to try and get between 300,000 to 400,000. Looks fine. Actually, I want to do one more thing before I do that. In this case, I want the geometry only to really go up to the eyelid. I don't really want it to be creating a socket, an eye socket for me. To me, that's just unnecessary, and it also adds a little bit more complexity for the algorithm to have to process. So what I'm going to do is take this eye layer here, and I'm going to create a duplicate of it as well. Clicking the duplicate icon, I'll hide the original. I'm going to right click and choose extrude, and the reason for that is I just want it to be a little bit larger than the original, and I just want to merge it with this head copy. So now I'll come over to the right hand side of the layer where I can see the little move icon, hold the shift key and drag that to the head copy, and that's going to merge it together. It looks a little rough here in the eye area, but that's fine. Just click smooth all, and that was one of the other tips, was to use smooth all until you get a nice clean result. Alright, just right click again, resample right here about midway, and I'll bring that down to 300K. Resample quality, I'll choose smooth, and I'll smooth all one more time. Now granted, I will lose a little bit of detail here, but that's okay. I don't need all that much detail while going through this step in the process. I just need a rough overall mesh that I can work with. Okay, so now that that's done, I can right click, choose Auto-Retopo, and in this case 5,000 is about right. I think the default amount is 3,000, but in this case 5,000, 7,000 should work, but I'll just go with the lower amount here. Auto density influence multiplier 1.2 seems to work for me most times, so I'll leave it at that. The symmetry, I want it to be symmetrical across the x-axis. If you don't want it to be symmetrical, if you got something that's asymmetric, you can always just uncheck it. Okay. In this case, I don't want to voxelize, just decimate, and I chose 100K. And I also noticed that sometimes paint selecting areas introduces just too much complexity, too much density, and obviously we could dial this down, but I'm just going to steer away from it in this case. I think on this model I might be better off just leaving it alone. Okay, so I'll just hit next, And I already have some spline guides that I created, and you saw from the other videos. I can just use the strokes tool to create these spline guides. And I think this will be enough. Maybe make one more right here. Probably delete that. All I have to do is just click on one of the points. When it's highlighted, I can delete the spline or the stroke. I'll probably delete that too. Alright, I think that's about all I want, and I may have too many, but in this case, some previous attempts where I was just testing seemed like it really needed the guidance on a model this complex. So, okay. And as I mentioned before in previous guides, you really want to only put guides on one side if you're going to make it symmetric. So let's go ahead and click Next. And while it's going through its calculations, I'll go ahead and pause. Okay, and here's our results. To be honest, it did a fairly remarkable job for an automatic algorithm. Now there are a few areas that will need cleaning up, but overall it did a bang-up job. And after going through some of the tips that Andrew submitted, I think it's made a believer out of me, because I never would have considered using this tool set on a very complex model. I just want to show what it was capable of, but yeah, it's really surprised me. So stay tuned, and in the next video what we're going to do is take the meshes that we had prior to this Auto-Retopo demonstration and merge them to the paint room. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.